Joining us now is one of the most popular people here on the concourse at Lucas Oil Stadium. His name is Norv Turner, and he's offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. How are you, Norv?
You are right here in the middle of press row. How do you get this seat?
Well, when you've been here 6 years, we've got a little cachet.
You've got it. I got you.
What's it? You being a former head coach 3 times, but longest with the San Diego Chargers. You used to walk up and down here as a head coach. Everybody would be tapping on you to get Uncle Norv to come over and sit on your lap so you'd share stories. What's it like now, Uncle Norv, as an offensive coordinator? Is it different?
You want to know the truth? For a lot of the time I was a head coach, this media row didn't exist.
That's right. This is new.
This is a little bit more demanding on the guys, and people that know me know I frequented here very little. That wasn't my deal.
Well, the media was missing out on stories from the lap of Uncle Norv. Why would you do that to people?
No one knew of Uncle Norv until you started this, other than my nieces and nephews.
Yeah, right.
That's fantastic. It has changed a lot. Do you like being involved in this process more? Every organization's different in how much they involve their coaches in the combine and, through all the processes here. Do you want to be involved, or you really, all things considered, you want to leave that to personnel people and let them do their part of the job?
Well, I think everyone has a role in the evaluation of personnel, and I think the coach's role is important because it's a piece of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. We know how our system works, and, I'm happy to contribute, and, I have some experience in the evaluation. I think I know what is right and wrong for the style of offense Coach Zimmer wants to run. So it's good to be involved, and it's good to have good teamwork, and the best teams in this league are the teams that work the best together, and I think that's why we've made the progress over the 2 years that we have.
Yeah, we just talked to Coach Zimmer for quite a while, and he talked about how much he likes having other coaches with a lot of experience in the room with him. Is he, you've worked with a lot of other head coaches. Is he somebody that puts a premium on collaboration with the experience of the coaches around him? Absolutely.
And I think that the great thing with Zim is it doesn't matter, once he gets his group together, it doesn't matter if it's someone like me who's been in the league 30 years or some of the other younger guys that have been in the league 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different take on things and a different perspective, and you hire good coaches, you want to use them.
So this is combine number 30 for you, Uncle Norv?
I think my first one was in 1987, around then. So
what were you doing then?
I was with the Rams.
Yeah.
Early with the Rams,
so you were here scouting Flipper Anderson from UCLA.
Yes. And early with the Rams, they didn't let us go. And then when we started able to go, and you spent a week here, you said, why do we have to go to this thing? But it's the first look you really get as coaches at these players, and it's very, very valuable.
Is it very valuable as the process goes? I mean, we talked to Mike Zimmer about this. The scouts and Spielman's department have all this tape that you guys are watching now and will watch more. Then you have the week of Senior Bowl practice. Then you have the pro days. Like, where does this fall into the drafting mix?
Well, I think what you said is most important. The other thing that the scouts have is they have firsthand knowledge of having watched these guys practice in spring practice, watch them in fall practice, and most of these guys the scouts have seen play live, and that's a great advantage. That's a great exposure. It's a lot different watching a guy live than it is watching him on tape.
Why is that?
I just think you're up close and personal. You get to see everything that's going on, the sideline, the guy's demeanor on and off the field, the way he handles adversity. That tape stops when the play's over. You get to watch a lot of different things about how a guy plays when you're doing that. And then, our exposure to him starts now, or Senior Bowl, and then now, and I think you just, like I said, it's a big puzzle, and you're trying to put it together.
Norv, with the wide receivers either available in the draft or whatever, or on your team from last year, Stephon Diggs, very good rookie season. Jarius Wright had a good season. Mike Wallace served a purpose. Statistically wasn't as good as some people thought he would be, but I'm sure he served a purpose. Adam Thielen has his role, Charles Johnson, the whole thing. Is it safe to say that you guys could use a receiver with a wide catch radius like a big, long arms. Now, this Laquan Treadwell from Ole Miss. I mean, he might not be available at 23, and even if he is, maybe you don't want him. But somebody like that, big, wide catch radius, somebody who can win the 50-50 battles.
Those guys, I always look at the other team's receivers when we go play a game, and every team we play, particularly our division, seems to have that big body type receiver. So I've had a real good experience with those type of guys throughout my career, and they do help the quarterback out a lot. You don't have to have that guy. Diggs is a guy that has all those things. He's just not as big as some of those guys. He's got the ability to. He's got a big catch radius. He knows how to go get the ball.
Was Michael Irvin that guy?
Absolutely.
Like octopus arms?
Absolutely.
Vincent Jackson was like that, wasn't he?
Malcolm Floyd, Vincent Jackson, those guys. Josh Gordon when he played for us in Cleveland the year.
He had a good year for you, Norv.
We've had some. We've been around those guys, but it's not a must. What you want to do is you want to keep adding good football players to your team, guys that are going to contribute and guys going to help you be successful. And everyone gets caught up in, if you go look for a guy, you're going to screw up. You're going to make a mistake. If you evaluate and go find the best guy, to me, that's the answer.
Norv, I think Josh Gordon had his best career as a pro when you were offensive coordinator in Cleveland, and your son Scott was the wide receivers coach. So now he's eligible to return. What if Cleveland's like, nah, too much history, can't have you come back? What about Josh Gordon, Norv?
Yeah, I'll bet you'd love that one. I root for Josh to get squared away, and to get back playing. He is a neat kid, and he's unusual talent. He ranks up there with the talent-wise with the best guys I've been involved with in this league through my career.
Holy cow!
That year was 2013. Josh Gordon was suspended for the first 2 games of the year and led the league in receiving yardage with 1,600 yards, despite...
He debuted against us week 3.
I think you might be right about that.
He did.
He did it with Brandon Whedon, Brian Hoyer, and Jason Campbell throwing him the ball over the course of that season. That's remarkable,
in
Norv.
a rotation. I tell you,
how'd you win a game that year, Norv?
If you want to see Josh Gordon, we went into New England, and they matched Aqib Talib with him, and he caught 9 balls for 170 yards.
Jeez.
Wow.
2 touchdowns, and he just wore him out. It was really an impressive day. Yeah.
That is. As offensive coordinator, for a long time, and all the coaching you've done, is Josh Gordon just one of these rare talents? You just, guys like him just don't come around very often, and then you're like, for the love of God, I got to cater to him. I got to find ways to get him the ball.
He's a rare talent, and those guys, you don't have to find ways to get them the ball because they find ways to get open, and guys that get open
get the ball.
A lot of this is. A lot of this, thing of, they're trying to do this, they're not trying to get him the ball. And my experience is the guys that go out and make plays, the guys that work their ass off, get open, do those things, they end up having production.
Not always what Brandon Whedon has to say at things, though. You unlocked a 1,600-yard receiving season from Brandon Whedon as quarterback.
And Chris Obanaya is like your featured running back at one point.
Yes.
How did you even win a game? We have to have Josh Gordon.
It was a struggle, believe me.
Norv Turner, offensive coordinator, Vikings, Indianapolis Combine, 9 to noon of the Combine. What, speaking of unlocking things, what clicked super well for Jerick McKinnon near the end of the year, specifically December and the Lambeau game?
Jerick, I think he, as a rookie, I think he made the type of progress you'd like to see. And then if we all remember, he got hurt in like week 10 or in week 11, and his season ended as a rookie.
Yeah.
And I think it took him a little while to get back and get comfortable when we started his second year. And we had a plan all along to work him as a receiver. I think he grew as a receiver, and I think we got in positions where we thought it fit in what we're doing. And then once we got him going, to me it kind of builds. It's not a lot different than the progress we made with Darren Sproles when we were in San Diego. It took us a while to find his niche, and when we did, he took off. And Jerick's going to take off for us, and he's going to be an explosive player and a guy that defenses, another guy that defenses have to be aware of. And when you have those guys, the more of those guys you have, the more opportunities it makes for everybody.
So you're saying Jerick McKinnon is as good as Darren Sproles?
I don't compare. I wouldn't compare guys' abilities, but I think he can be a productive player like Darren.
Yeah.
You've been through lots of ups and downs and had plenty. You've been coaching so long, plenty of tough losses. How does the Blair Walsh miss from last year rank among tough losses for you?
That's tough. A playoff loss is you can take in any regular season loss. You just multiply it over and over and over because you work so hard to get there.
Yeah.
And everyone says, well, next year, we'll take another step and get there. Well, sometimes next year isn't the same year, and you don't get the same thing. So, you got to put it behind you. And everyone refers to it the Blair Walsh miss,
yeah.
but it was it was a game we didn't win, and you just got to move on from it, and you got to gain from the experience. And the good thing is we have a real young team, and I think we'll grow from it, and we'll keep getting better.
I haven't moved on. I mean, I still think of it now, and I just said it still hurts a bit.
Well, it'll always hurt. I was involved in 2009. We lost to the Jets 17-14. Nate Kading missed 3 field goals. He missed one. He missed a 34-yarder in the first quarter.
Yeah.
We were going to take a 10-0 lead, which ends up being a 3-point game, and that affects a lot of different people's lives. And I don't know that I'll ever move on from that. But you have to.
Well, yeah.
Norv, in 2009, we're at the Superdome. We have 525 yards of offense, give the ball away 5 times, and are inches from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was 09 for us.
Yeah.
Quarterback throws across the body. There's Tracy Porter. There he goes. Sullivan runs him down from behind. Jared Allen's on the team. Tracy Porter was so happy about himself at that moment that he intercepts it. Sullivan runs him down. Porter runs 20 yards, looks at the Vikings bench, and does the Jared Allen calf rope bit.
Yeah.
So you wonder, off all of our conversations last year about my disdain for Tracy Porter, it goes all the way back to 2009.
No question.
That's why when Diggs got him back left of the end zone in the game at TCF, I'm like, yeah, take that.
No question.
It's a regular season game. We probably could use the other one.
You were the coach you were the coach when Phillip Rivers had the amazing playoff game against the Patriots when he shouldn't even been on the field, right? That had to be a really tough loss because it was such a gutty effort by your squad.
Well, we didn't have LaDainian Tomlinson. He was hurt. We didn't have, Phillip played, but he was obviously not real mobile. And then Gates had played with pretty much a broken toe and was hobbled. So we were in the game late in the fourth quarter. We had our chances. It wasn't cold like our Seattle game was, but it was a cold New England day.
Yeah.
It was the week. Obviously, Phillip got hurt in the Indy game here, where that was the last game in the old stadium where we had the miraculous comeback. That was Sproles' big game where he caught the screen passes and had all the big plays. Yeah, so those are exciting games.
You would have won that AFC title game had you had Josh Gordon. Just let Phillip throw that thing up to him in the alley-oop, and there we go.
Josh was about 12.
Big deal. He would have dominated. Are you kidding me, Charch?
You might think this is a dumb question, but Darren Sproles has been one of my favorite players since he was in college. Should he, when everything's said and done, which has now been like a 12, 13-year career, should he be somebody to consider for Hall of Fame, especially when you consider special teams and all the other things that he's done?
No chance.
Yeah, I understand what Paul's saying. When I think when his career's over and people look back at everything he's done in the kicking game, you're talking about the plays he's made, all his numbers. Someone might throw it out, but I think that's a long shot.
And he was so little, he'd be the first player who could pose for his own bust. Just like stand on the top of it, and that's like the whole guy.
He's one of the most powerful guys I've been around. He's not little. He's short. We call him Mighty Mouse. He's pretty remarkable guy.
We have the general manager on the radio show tomorrow. Obviously not to step on any of his touchdown calls, but from what you know now, you think it's a deep draft for offensive line? Like first round all the way through the whole thing?
It sounds like it is, and everyone gets caught up in the first-round guys. There's a lot of good players that get taken throughout the draft. So I think, in my conversations with Rick and then talking to Tony Sperano, who's really, zeroed in on these guys. We started interviewing some of them last night. It sounds exciting in terms of the guys that, there's a potential for.
When you chat with your new offensive line coach, given his name, do you ever feel like calling him Tony Sperano? I'd like to draw a skinny post you can't refuse.
I can't do the impersonation you're doing.
Of course you can.
Visually, I can do that. And I kind of,
Mr. Sperano.
Yeah.
I'd like you in my office immediately.
We were trying to figure out the whole storyline, and remember when it ended, it faded to black. So
right.
Who knows where
if
the other Tony is.
If the offensive line plays poorly one game, hopefully you don't end up with American Pharaoh's head in your bed the next day. You know what I'm saying? Stephon Diggs, good rookie season. Does he need to build his upper body a little bit, you think?
I think that gets back to the point of the offensive line, and then young players. Everyone gets caught up at this time of year in free agency and the draft, and my experience how teams get better is with the guys they have on their team, because we're going to add maybe 8-10 guys to our team.
Yeah.
There'll be 8 or 10 new players on our team
and
next
3
year.
big-time free agents.
Yeah, and but the together when the 53-man roster is set, we're probably going to add 8 to 10 new players on our roster. So that means there's 43 that are returning, and the way teams get better is those 43 guys get better. They've got to grow and get better. And Diggs was a rookie, and he's got a long ways to go to be the player he's going to be. So, having a great offseason in the weight room, getting bigger, getting stronger, learning more about our offense, learning some simple adjustments, some details that aren't real easy for him right now. Another opportunity to be in the offense. He was, he came in May, did a great job of learning, but, when you're a first-year guy, there's a lot of improvement you can make, and that to me is how teams get better.
Yeah.
The thing that Stephon did that seemed really exceptional to me, and tell me if I'm just wrong, his cutting ability was so good that he would create all this separation on his cuts. And we've seen really good receivers come through Minnesota, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. I can't remember anybody who will make a cut when at the start of his cut he's well covered. Coming out of the cut, he's got 3 yards of separation.
Well, now let's get back to the first conversation we had when we got started and the big receiver.
Yeah.
The guys that are 5'10", 5'11", 190, I mentioned early that Diggs reminded me a little bit of Henry Ellard, who was 5'11", 188 pounds, probably played heaviest at 192 or whatever. And those guys create separation, and those guys change direction better. Michael Irvin can't create the same separation that Henry Ellard could. Now, we just talked about Michael Irvin can look covered, and you can throw him the ball because he's going to go up and get the ball. So it's different styles, but there's no question Diggs has outstanding ability to change direction, and that's why I'm talking about learning how to use his body, learning how to use that ability on a lot of routes, just not a couple routes. So those are the things we're going to start on right away when we get these guys back.
Now the season's over, I think we can look back and say this offensive line limited your offense a fair amount. We did not get the overall production from the line that I think we were hoping for. We've got a new offensive line coach. If this line improves, how does that help Teddy Bridgewater in this passing offense if the line does get better this year?
Well, there's 2 things to it to me. We had, obviously, everyone knows we had injuries to start our season.
Right.
We played a first-year player at right tackle. He certainly had some growing pains. He's a competitive guy that, as I said at the end of the season, I'm really proud of what he did, because none of us thought he would go start 16 games when he came in when we drafted him. You thought he's a guy that is a developmental player that 2 years down the road might be able to help you. And then you couple that together with who we played. Okay, we played. Our division has good pass rushers. The teams we played Kansas City. I think Denver rushes a passer pretty well. Last time I saw them in the Super Bowl, they did pretty good. So there's a lot of things that go into that, and then you look at what you're trying to do. You're trying to win games. No one, in my opinion, after you were trying to win games, and that's what we were able to do. And we were able to put together the things we need to do to complement our defense, make up for the deficiencies we had, and then to go play even teams that people don't even recognize. The Rams, outstanding pass rush group. Every team we played. So to sit there and say, we should have thrown it 10 more times or, done this or that, I'm not going to look back at that, because I think we every week tried to put a plan together that gave us the best chance to win. 11 weeks we were able to do that. So now we need to build on that, and we need to get better. Everyone talks the offensive line. We need to get better in all areas.
You want the team to re-sign Rhett Ellison?
I'm a big Rhett Ellison fan. I was sick when he got hurt. The way he got hurt, he's a valuable player to our team. Yeah.
Joe Berger, into the equation. Joe had a really good season at starting center. Not like a good season, a really, really good season.
He had a really good season, and I always look back at the things that could have happened. If Sully doesn't get hurt, we lose Phil. If Sully doesn't get hurt, Joe would have played right guard. Mike Harris probably would have played right tackle. Mm-hmm. It would have been a little more, more solid.
Yeah.
So there's those things come into it, but to have Joe play the way he did at center was a bonus, and to have Mike Harris play the way he did at right guard was a plus, because both those guys had very good years.
Is that say next year you could envision a scenario where you've got Sullivan next to Berger, next to Harris, perhaps?
Well,
offensive line?
I think that's getting ahead of ourselves. A lot's going to happen between now and then. Mm-hmm. But to me, and I think Tony talked about this when he first got here, and he's talked about it when he's talked about evaluating players. The more versatile players you have, obviously the better off you are, because most teams keep 8, some keep 9 offensive linemen. So if you have a number of players that can play multiple positions, you're a lot better through a 16-game season, because we played the same 5 guys 16 games. We're the only team in the NFL that did that.
Yeah,
so
that's
telling you it's probably not going to happen next year.
With the way you just laid it out, we can't take Cody Whitehair from Kansas State, 23rd overall, and then bring him off the bench. So you got to find a spot for him on that offensive line when we debut next year. A couple of quickies to close for Norv Turner, offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. First of all, we're X amount of minutes into this thing, and I can't believe I'm remiss that I haven't asked you about your hip. I know you injured your hip a little bit around the Senior Bowl. It might have just been a nagging injury, but is it okay?
It's slowly recovering.
Excellent. Well, you look great. You're getting around great.
I've gotten rid of my slice, and and I'm not hitting it quite as far as I'd like to, but I think that'll come back when we take a break, when Zim goes to the owners' meeting.
We will chat extensively with your son tomorrow on the Combine Show about Teddy Bridgewater, but. Does he need to cut it loose a little bit more next year indoors? What do you think about Teddy year 3?
I saw where, being very respectful now, where Rick Spielman said he needed to cut it loose more, and I haven't had a chance. I was going to ask Rick what that means. What we want Teddy to do is continue to grow.
Yeah.
We want him to continue to grow. And there were a number of games where, we got in situations where he was able to carry us a little bit. I think, and everyone talks about the Arizona game. The game I thought he was most impressive was at Detroit. They hit a couple trick plays early. We get down 17-3, and they were doing a great job on the run and defending the run through most of the game. And I thought he made a lot of plays in the passing game, made the big throw to Diggs for a touchdown. I thought he has shown me enough times if we were in a position where he had to carry the team, he could do that. He's not in that position, and that's good for us. We were 4th in the league in fewest turnovers. That is a winning stat, and that if we can continue to do that and continue to grow in terms of what we're doing offensively, we'll be fine. I don't want to be in that deal where you throw for 300 yards and you throw 19 interceptions and you say, God, he really played good, but we just lost in the fourth quarter. I've been there. In 2010, we were first in the league in total offense in San Diego, and we were first in the league in passing offense, and we were 9-7. So there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this, and Teddy's made the progress I'd like to see him make, and I think he's going to continue to make that same kind of progress.
Uncle Norv, thank you very much.
Always.
Gil Brandt.
Thanks, Norv.
Gil Brandt is behind you, looking to share stories from the 1965 Combine. So that's what you're going to be doing for the next. Back when you, Gil Brandt, and Sid Hartman had to find free agents by using payphones.
That's right.
So that's coming up next. Okay.